And we begin this broadcast with breaking news coming in with regards to the horror on board that Phuket-Delhi Air India flight. Now, Airbus, which also entered the investigation, Airbus has sent an initial report to Air India after decoding the digital flight data recorder of the A320 that experienced a loss of around 300 feet in altitude during the Phuket-Delhi flight on August 4th. Now, what does Airbus say in its report? What are the technical details that Airbus has now found? For that, we have our colleague Shefali joining us. Shefali, as per the information that you have with you, Airbus has found that the aircraft's green, blue and yellow hydraulic systems were temporarily affected. What does that mean?
Right now, Airbus sent an initial reading of the DFDR to Air India. And it says that for 4 seconds, for a period of 4 seconds, with the spoilers also lost as consequences. So it says that the hydraulic system were failed within the timeline of 4 seconds. During those 4 seconds, the elevators and ailerons of the A320neo drifted on their own without any pilot command, followed multiple failures of the jet's 3 hydraulic system, is what the report says. While Airbus also maintained that this is the initial finding and there is no root cause that they have found so far. So they have also asked Air India to inspect the aircraft, its system, so that more details can be, captured from it. While AAIB is also investigating, all these details will also be submitted to AAIB of what are the findings of Airbus, as its engineering team has, submitted this particular report to Air India. This report was accessed by Times Now, which says that for 4 seconds, hydraulic system did fail. And more so, right now, what we're learning is that Airbus has asked Air India to do a detailed inspection of this aircraft.
All right. So, if I'm correct, Shefali, in this particular case, just think about what the passengers had to go through. Now, the pilot has tested positive for marijuana, for taking psychoactive substance, and in the subsequent investigation that followed, Airbus has now said that the aircraft's green, blue and yellow hydraulic systems were temporarily affected, which also led to a loss of the flight controls. But do stay with us. We'll talk about what next in the investigation. Before that, we're going to explain graphically to our viewers what this essentially means. Let's actually go across and explain to our viewers what what happens in the case of a hydraulic failure. Was the aircraft to blame? So now the focus is on the technical glitch, the question around the possible technical glitch. So when the case is one of a hydraulic failure, what happens? Flight control, it is a flight control problem. Then let's also talk about what happens when there is a hydraulic failure. Difficulty in moving the control surface and reduce maneuverability. These are the challenges that pilots have to face in case of a hydraulic failure. And then there are landing gear issues that come to the fore. In case of autopilot disconnect, now this is another aspect that is being spoken about. What happens then? Manual control by the pilot is then required, which then puts a lot of challenge on the pilot in command. Then it increases the pilot's workload in case there is an autopilot disconnect. Then there is a loss of automated stability. This is what happens in case of an autopilot disconnect. Here we are talking about the technical aspect of the investigation and the questions that are coming to the fore. And then there is a greater need for pilot input. And in this case, we have information that the pilot in command, there are questions now on what happened with the pilot in command. Let's go back once again to Shefali, who is with us. Shefali, the focus currently is on this report that Airbus has sent to Air India. Now tell us what's going to happen next. So there are two aspects that there is a conversation around. One, the fact that the pilot in command tested positive for marijuana in the post-flight screening and also the subsequent confirmatory test. And now there are also questions about how what led to the loss of flight controls. If the hydraulic systems of if Airbus finds that the hydraulic systems, which is the aircraft's green, blue and yellow hydraulic systems, were temporarily affected, then what are the larger questions that come to the fore?
Right. So as with the dossier which has been accessed by Times Now, if you see that dossier as well, the topic that is written there is severe turbulence. So it must have been that when Air India must have written to Airbus regarding this particular incident, the topic must have been mentioned as severe turbulence, which this particular dossier says the same. So what we have also learned from our sources is that currently AAIB is investigating on all fronts, be it turbulence case, be it pilot being tested positive for marijuana, or the technical faults that we have been reporting since starting that have come to the fore.
All
So
right.
all these three aspects are currently being investigated. None of it is being ruled out by the investigative body, and only in prelim report there could be some clarity as to what exactly happened, because that is when they
So the
will be able
pilot
to.
itself cannot be blamed right now, because Airbus has also identified a preliminary issue involving the green hydraulic system pressure switch and also noted how there was one part which got disconnected during the event, and after that there was a full nose down input from the first officer's side. So all these aspects are under investigation. Thank you so much, Shefali, for breaking down all those details with